hello students. As we are discussing about the case study problems and already from past 2 days we are discussing it. So I think from today you have all the basic idea about the case study problems, as we have discussed a number of cases in 2 days, like I have discussed the case of transformer and which types of question can be based on that. I have discussed AC generator, motor, and yesterday I just discussed the case for the propagation of electromagnetic wave, and I have taken all the properties of electromagnetic waves in that, and even correlated the properties of light, which we have already studied in the chapters of ray optics and wave optics. I have taken that also in to make you understand that if we are talking about any case, then that case contains all the properties of every words that are using in that particular case. So today let's see one more case that is based on the chapter nuclei, and this is the case related to the discovery of nucleus. So as you know that when scientists were facing the problem to arrange atoms, or to understand atoms, they were trying to give a model for the atoms, and in which how the positive charge carriers and negative charge carriers, how they are distributed, and also why atoms are neutral. So this was the problem at that time. Even we were unable to tell why electron is showing such types of behavior, like why it is conducting, what is the region behind the electrical conductivity, heat conductivity. So many phenomena we have already discussed and even discovered then, but we were unable to describe it without any suitable model. So scientists were tried to give a suitable model for the atomic behavior for the atoms, means how they are designed, and in which if we have some positive charge carriers, some negative charge carriers, then how they are separated, or they are distributed among that atom. So first of all, as you know that Thomson tried to give an atomic model. One case can be based on the atomic model also, so that if beside this I have just taken the case of atomic models. So in case of atomic models, the basic property of atoms that can be included there, and also the process, or means the step by step in which we have just discovered the suitable model to explain the properties of atom, to explain the properties of proton, electron, neutrons, and also how can we explain the chemical properties, physical properties, heat property, conductivity, whatever phenomena we have, spectroscopic phenomena. So all of these are explained only because we have some suitable atomic model. With the help of it, now we are able to solve it by the electronic configuration, and with the help of that we can understand which is ground state, which is excited state, and why electrical conductivity we have, why the spectroscopic phenomena we have. So such types of all phenomena are now we are able to understand only due to this model. So I think importance of this model is totally clear to you. And the first of all atomic model that was given by the Thomson, and Thomson just only he was trying to work on the neutral property of atoms, and for that he has given that positive charge carriers and electrons both are distributed among the spherical atom symmetrically. So but the problem was the existence problem, and we have already discussed while we were discussing the chapters. So here I am not going to give you details, but only due to existence problem we again needed a new types of model which can explain more stably the properties of nucleus, and also which can be more stable. Means first of all, if the model has not existence property, then how can we adopt that model? So that was the problem in the case of Thomson, and also he was unable to explain the fine structure or spectroscopic phenomena. Secondly, when the discovery of nucleus is done by the Rutherford and his associates, so I'm just not going to take this still. Only I am talking about the atomic models. First of all, if we are taking that case, so in case of Rutherford model, as you know that he was performing an scattering experiment of alpha particles from the atoms, and during his experiment and with the result of the experiment, he was concluded that in atoms there is very small, very tiny space in which most of the mass of the atom is concentrated, and he gave name nucleus to it. And this is the, in this way the discovery of nucleus is done by the Rutherford. And here I've just taken that case also, what is the case of discovery of nucleus. And also he known as the father of the nuclear physics, because he discovered this nucleus, and after that he has given a more accurate even model in which tiny space in which positive charge carriers are concentrated. It means that now he used an isolation property for negative and positive charge carrier, which was not in the case of Thomson. So the isolation is that in tiny and small space there are electrons, there are protons, and that's why nucleus is positively charged. And also around electrons are orbiting surrounded to it in the circular orbits, and also when electrons transit from higher to lower states, then they are radiating energy. So he was trying to first explain the spectroscopic behavior of the atoms also with the help of his model. But the problem was there also, the problem of existence. As you know that if electrons are continuously radiating their energy, then after some time they will fall in the nucleus, and obviously in nucleus there are positive charge carriers, so they will neutralize and fall. Ultimately the existence of atom that will be lost. So that's why Rutherford model, there was some discrepancies also which was removed by the Bohr, and he gave some he actually put some limitations for the circular orbits in which electrons are orbiting, and for that he gave a law that is known as even quantum law also, because he used Planck's quantum theory to explain his law. And he gave that the angular momentum for a particular circular orbit should be integral multiple of h upon 2 pi. If it is not, then in that circular orbit electrons will not revolve. So now electrons, there are limitations for the movement of electrons. They cannot move in every possible circular orbits. They will move only in certain circular orbits. So time by time we are trying to remove all discrepancies which we have. Like in our daily life, if we are doing mistakes, then we try to again correct it. Again we may do mistakes, again we try to correct it. So this is the same way in physics or in any field we are doing. Discoveries are made by this way. So scientists were trying to continually work on this, and after all we have such a great model such that we can explain all the properties of electrons or the phenomena that is possessing by it. So I think the atomic model and questions based on this can be asked, like every possible question can be based on the atomic model. If we are talking about Thomson model, then we can ask the question about symmetry there. If we are talking about the Rutherford model, then first of all there can be question based on the alpha scattering experiment, and also there a case that can be asked that based on alpha scattering experiment still. So there are a number of cases in nuclei, chapter nuclei also, such that this scattering experiment on alpha particles. Second, we can have atomic models. Third, we can have discovery of nucleus. Fourth, we can have like if a single Bohr model I have just given, simply Rutherford model I have just given, and also spectrum of hydrogen. or X-ray spectrum. So number of cases can be asked. So that they can be particular cases or they can be collective cases. Like in collective way, I just explained atomic model, and this is a particular case where we are talking about the discovery of nucleus. So let's see this case and which types of questions can be asked on this case. Just see that. So the case that we have, that is the nucleus was first discovered in 1911 by Rutherford and his associates by experiment on scattering of alpha particles by atoms. He found that atom consists of a small, central, massive and positive core surrounded by orbiting electrons. He called it nucleus. And also you know that experiment shows that the order of nucleus is nearly 10 power minus 14 meter, and also it is 10,000 times smaller than the size of the atom. So this is very small space in which most of the masses of the atom that is concentrated. As you know that protons are more massive than electrons, and if protons and neutrons both are consisting in the nucleus, then obviously the mass of this nucleus will be much greater than the mass of the electrons that are revolving outside the nucleus. So this is the main portion of the discovery of nucleus. And also after the discovery of nucleus, we were able to understand the neutral property and also some different property of the nucleus that is possessing. As you know that the properties of nucleus you have studied, like what is the nuclear size, what is radii of nucleus, on which factor it is depending on. And you have seen that it is depending on the mass number, means with increase in mass number its radii also increases. What is the density, what is its volume, surface area, all the things, binding energy. You have seen a number of cases what types of forces are acting in the nucleus, and we have seen that the most strongest force that is acting in case of nucleus. So that's why we cannot break it by simple experiments. So this breaking of nucleus, that is nearly impossible for us. So we cannot break any atom. So in starting it was saying that atoms is the most fundamental part, but later it was discovered that protons, neutrons and electrons are more fundamental particles. And even this time we are knowing that there are so many weak forces that are also responsible for the nuclear phenomena, like for strength of the stability of the nucleus. The pi meson particles are responsible, means for short times neutron are converting into proton are converting into neutron by the absorption and by the emission of the pi meson particles. So that weak force, that weak phenomenon helps us helps the nucleus to bind it, nucleons to bind it, and finally for the stability of the nucleus. So this I think case that is clear. So let's see the questions based on this. So the first question is that what is the density of the nucleus? This is constant or this is varying, means like suppose that if a question is asked for from the properties of nucleus, here if we have discovered the nucleus, then obviously that nucleus will have some property. I have discussed again, still there. So if we are talking about the properties of the nucleus, then one property, the question is that what will be the density of the nucleus? The option is that, suppose that first option is it is constant, second option is it is less for lighter nuclei and increase with the mass number, or means it is dependent on mass number or not, or it is directly proportional or inversely proportional with mass number. So what is the answer? So as you know that density is given by mass per volume, clear? So here mass is, that is A, and volume that can be, as you know that the shape of a nucleus that is spherical. So what will be its volume? That will be 4 by 3 pi r cube, and r, you know that r is directly proportional to a power 1 by 3. So let's solve it. So this will be 4 by 3 pi a power 1 by 3, or here if you are using some constants here, then here some constant r0 we are using, so r0 cube a power 1 by 3 whole cube, and after solving it this will be a, and this will be cancelled out, and finally you are seeing that this is constant, so you can write the whole value that will be constant. So the density of the nucleus that is obtained, that is a constant. It is not dependent on mass number, as mass number is out from here. So this, it is neither directly proportional to mass number nor inversely proportional. It is constant for all of the nuclei, either it is lighter nuclei or heavier nuclei. So it will be constant at all. So the second question is that ratio of mass of nuclei with mass of atom is approximately. So question is given, what is the ratio of mass of nuclei to the mass of atom? Approximate ratio we have to give. This question can be also asked for the nucleus. So as you know that already most of the masses are concentrated in nucleus, and very few masses that are orbiting as an electron outside it, and also you know that protons and neutrons are more massive in comparison to electrons. Then you can say that nucleus represent nearly the mass of atom also. So if in approximate way we are talking, then mass of nuclei that will be nearly equal to the mass of atom, because electrons carry very small masses. So basically if these are nearly equal, then its ratio will be approximately equal to 1. So this question can be asked also, so that's why don't try to write anything here. This is based on the fundamental facts. Next question is that masses of nuclei of hydrogen, deuterium and tritium are in the ratio. So suppose that we have the hydrogen isotopes. One is, this is hydrogen, second is 1s2 deuterium, and third is 1s3, that is tritium. So these three isotopes we have, and now we have to show its ratio. What is the ratio of masses for the it? So as you know that masses can be represented by its number, then definitely mass by its mass number is 1, 2 and 3. So what will be its ratio of masses? That will be 1:2:3. So I think there is no confusion in this. It is very simple question. We can easily explain it. As you know that the mass of the nuclei that is represented by its mass number. So in case of hydrogen its mass number is 1, in case of deuterium its mass number is 2, in case of tritium its mass number is 3. So their masses are in the ratio of 1:2:3 here. So these are very basic questions that I have just asked. I think there is no confusion. Next question is that if r is the radius, just try to listen the question. If r is the radius and a is its mass number, then log r versus log a. Log a. This will its graph will, what will its graph represent? So suppose that we have two quantities. One is r, that is its radius, means we have any nuclei with radius r and mass number a, and now we have to solve the log of it. So first of all, let's write the formula that is relating the mass number and the radius of the nuclei. After that we will solve it for its log, and we have to just show what its graph is, which types of curve its graph is showing. So you can just pause the video and you can also solve it with the formula r0 a power 1 by 3. Okay. Now just take the log of this on both sides. What will we get? This will be log r0 plus 1 by 3 log of a. Okay. So this will be, finally we can obtain it, and you can solve it. After solving it, what will it show? You can plot a graph for it, and this graph will show us what is the value of or which types of curve it is showing. So as we solved this problem in this way, and also you are seeing that this formula is just like we have some y is equal to mx plus c for the straight line. So here this portion we can take as the y, this portion we can take just like mx, and here the value of m or slope, that is equal to 1 by 3, and this is a variable quantity, this is x, and this is a constant quantity as r0 is constant, so this is equal to c. So as this represent whole equation represent is equation of a straight line, so that's why the log r versus log a, this graph will represent a straight line. So only you have to just take its formula and to solve it, and let's see the analogy of the curve equation, and after that you will be able to solve it very easily. So the next question is also based on the properties of nucleus. Here we are talking about the discovery of nucleus. Then the questions that can be asked here, that can be based on the alpha scattering experiment, or based on the Rutherford model, or also they can be based on the properties of nucleus. So the next question, that is the ratio of the nuclear radii of the gold isotope, that is 79 Au 197, and silver isotope, that is 47 Au 107. So the question, next question that we have, that is the ratio of the radii of nucleus of gold isotope, and what is the of silver isotope. So as you know that the radii, that is for any nuclei, radii is directly proportional to a power 1 by 3. This is just related by this formula of the mass number. Then for this equation for the gold, you can write here this Au, that will be directly proportional to and place of A we can write 197 for 1 by 3, or you can remove the direct proportionality sign, so this will be equal to 197 power 1 by 3. And also for silver isotope we can write Rag, that is equal to R0 107 power 1 by 3. So with the help of this formula we can easily solve what is the value of the radii of nuclei of this gold isotope and silver isotope in this way. And after that let's take its ratio. So what is the ratio? R gold upon R silver, that will be equal to 197 power 1 by 3 and 107 power 1 by 3. Okay? Now you can solve it easily and you can find out what will be its ratio. So this is, in this way you have to just see the formula that is based on the nuclear property. If we are talking about the case that is the discovery of nucleus, now we have discovered the nucleus, then obviously nucleus will have some property. So in case study problems, there can be questions based on the nuclear property. So you have to just study all these things. And also in nuclei, I have just told you which types of cases can be asked here. Like case can be based on alpha scattering experiment, case can be based on discovery of nucleus, case can be based on atomic models, case can be based on X-ray spectroscopy. So number of questions, number of cases can be made here that can be asked in your board examination. So you have to just practice all that. So I think whatever I have discussed on all the questions, 5 questions I have just discussed in case of discovery of nucleus. So I think this is very easy and you can understand it very easily. Which types of questions can be asked here. So let's see some more questions that can be asked and some more cases that can be asked from the chapter nuclei. Suppose that I am just taking the case of X-ray spectroscopy. Suppose that this case is given to us. So in case of X-ray spectroscopy, as you know that production of X-ray is done by when very fast or very energetic electrons that are striking to the atoms of any target or any metal. In that case, that's secondary emission process that is occurred. Means if that high energetic electron makes knockout any orbital electron, any core electron, then obviously as you know that by Hund's law, by above principle, we know that first of all the core electrons, core orbits must be fulfilled. So to fulfill that core orbit, the electrons from higher orbit that will jumps to the lower orbit or to that particular core orbit, then definitely there will be emission of radiation will take place, and that radiation lies in the range of X-rays. So simply X-rays are produced by secondary emission process that is done by high energetic electrons. So we can accelerate electrons by cyclotron, we can accelerate it by applying a large voltage. So that we have already read when production of X-rays we were studying. And now if X-rays are just we have seen the number of wavelength or frequencies can be asked in this process of the filling of that core orbits, and if you arrange that in increasing or decreasing order of frequency or wavelength, then we will get the spectrum of X-ray. So from here spectroscopy of X-rays is started, and also you know that 2 types of spectrum that is possible in case of X-rays, continuous X-rays and characteristic X-ray. So this is, suppose that this is the particular case, manually I have just explained you this case. So this case can be asked in your examination also. Now which types of questions can be asked here? So suppose question can be asked with you when we get continuous spectrum of the X-ray. So continuous spectrum of X-ray is obtained when continuous striking of secondary or simple continuous striking of electrons takes place in atoms, or simple suppose that if knockout of electrons are done by done in higher orbits, and also suppose the energetic electrons that are slower by the nucleus and it's charged, then in that case it is also radiating energy. So in this way continuous frequency or wavelength that is obtained in any range. So in this way we can obtain it. But questions, suppose that we have asked a question, what is the difference in continuous and characteristics spectrum? So the basic difference that is continuous and characteristics spectrum, that in case of characteristic spectrum a particular wavelength or frequency is obtained. So that spectrum can be seen in form of line spectrum. but to the continuous spectrum in which we got a range of wavelength. So in that way we obtain a band spectrum while we are examining that. So basic difference is that in characteristic we obtain line spectrum just like the atomic spectrum, and in continuous spectrum we obtain the band spectra just like the molecular spectra. So this question can be asked. So I think the basic question that is clear, and also here if we are talking about the X-ray spectroscopy, then questions can be asked from the topic of the production of X-ray, and also one more question can be asked here. X-ray spectroscopy is used to study the crystal behavior. So why we are using it for the crystal behavior, that questions can be asked also. So as you know that crystal behavior is observed by the diffraction phenomena that is done by the atoms, and you know that for diffraction phenomena it is necessary that the light we are using, the electromagnetic wave we are using for the study, that should have the dimension nearly equal to the or comparable to the that should have wavelength comparable to the dimension of atom that in which we are studying this. Means the dimension of crystal, if that is nearly equal or that is comparable to the wavelength of the light through which we are examining it, then in that way diffraction of that light or that particular wave will be possible, and through which we will able to study the crystal behavior. So it is seen that the dimension of atoms or any crystal, that is comparable to the wavelength of X-ray. So X-rays are also very important while we are examining that. So that question can be asked also. Simple X-ray electromagnetic wave, so electromagnetic behavior can be asked also here. Also you know that in medicals we are using X-rays, so that question can be asked also here. So in X-ray spectroscopy if we are talking about, then obviously we are expecting that you know everything about X-rays already. So based on the X-rays topic, questions can be asked in this case study also. So basically I think 3 days we are just discussing the case study problems. So I think all the case study and which types of cases can be asked, that is now totally clear. There is no confusion while you are studying and you are trying to understand how can we learn the cases, how can we understand these types of cases can be asked. So that's why I have just taken number of chapters and which types of cases can be asked there. I think that is clear. So after this we will again study some conceptual problems related on the chapters which we have left already. So I think all these things are clear. Then let's end the class here. Thank you.